How about our wonderful community choir? Can we give them another hand? It is my pleasure to welcome our Canton Community Choir. It has been formed of local area residents, and it's under the direction of Ginger Thorne Herman. Again, let's give them a big round of applause. They did such a fabulous job. talent in this region or what? Our local area talent is huge, right? I think they should be enacted at our festival in the summertime, but I'm just saying. Anyway, thank you again. Next, I am very pleased to welcome Lieutenant Dale Waltz, who will share with us the work of the Canton Response to Hate Crimes Coalition. Welcome, Lieutenant.
Good evening. On behalf of the Director of Public Safety, Josh Meyer, and the Deputy Director of Police, Chad Baugh, and the entire Hate Crimes Coalition, I'm deeply honored to be here tonight to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In 2009, the Canton Police Department sought out partners in the community and beyond to form a coalition to respond to hate crimes. Now, there wasn't a spike in hate crimes in Canton. What it was is a proactive measure to reach out to area partners in case there was a hate crime, to bring them to the table, to make sure that they have a voice in the community, have a voice in the police department, and if there is a hate crime that occurs in the community, that we have resources in place and people in place that can assist victims of hate crimes or bias incidents. We brought to the table many different groups who have remained with us throughout the years: the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, the Muslim community of the Western Suburbs, the Hindu Temple of Canton, the Sikh Gurdwara, Leisure Services of Canton, Equality Michigan, and the Canton Public Library, amongst many others. In 2013, several years later, we didn't have a big rise, or there was no reported hate crimes in Canton. So we sought to take a turn a little bit, if you will, and reach out to the community and do more community outreach to get our word out there and to make sure everybody knows that we're here for them. You do have a voice here, and to let everybody know who we are. We hosted a couple events over the past couple years. One called Get to Know Your Muslim Neighbor at the Canton Public Library, and that was very well attended. And then the next year we had one called Get to Know Your Sikh Neighbor, and the objectives of these events was to basically do exactly what they say: get to know your neighbors, meet people that are different from you, meet people that are in your community that you might not know, and interact with them and ask questions so you can get to know who they are and they can get to know you. In 2015, I had heard of a group a couple years prior, in 2013 as well, called Not in Our Town. Not in Our Town is an organization based in Oakland, California, and one of their primary purposes is to respond to hate crimes that occur in the country. They'll respond to communities and help communities heal with speaking engagements and videos and just talking to each other. And I looked at this as an opportunity to bring Canton to Not in Our Town and Not in Our Town to Canton. Again, not as a reactive measure because something was going on or something was wrong, but as a proactive measure. So I called Not in Our Town and I said, I introduced myself. I was a sergeant at the time, and they said, "Oh my gosh, what's going on in Canton, Michigan?" I said, "Nothing." And they said, "Well, what do you mean nothing?" And I said, "I'm reaching out to you because I want to make sure that we have programs in place and we have an organization that can recognize us in case something does occur." And it kind of threw them for a loop. They're like, "So nothing's wrong?" "No, nothing's going on. You don't need us anywhere?" "Nope. We just want your support, and we want you to know who we are and what kind of community we are." And I said, "Okay, this has never happened before." So we had conversations, and during that time, I'm one of the co-chairs of the Canton Response to Hate Crimes Coalition. My other co-chair is Eva Davis, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. She's the director of the Canton Public Library. We started to get invites from different communities, and I started to get phone calls from different police departments because they heard about our involvement with Not in Our Town. we were invited to an outreach in Bowling Green, Ohio, where we spoke about Islamophobia and police-community relationships and how to build them and building trust in the community. In late 2015, we had a Not in Our Town peace rally. And again, it was to show the community that this is an initiative brought forth by the Canton Response to Hate Crimes Coalition and the police department to let everybody know, again, that everybody's included. We're all included in this community. We're all in this together. We had much success. In 2016, we decided to combine Not in Our Town with the National Night Out Rally, which is a national rally that's held every August. And again, that was very successful. And then I started thinking, you know what? We need to have a goal for our hate crimes coalition. Our goal was to become the first Not in Our Town Gold Star community, which is recognized by Not in Our Town as one of the premier communities in the country. And only a handful of communities hold that designation. In 2017, I'm proud to say, actually, I apologize. In 2016, I'm proud to say that Not in Our Town, the founder of Not in Our Town, came out to an event that we were attending and offered us to be one of 5 pilot cities in the nation for forming a coalition and best practices with the coalition and with the police department. So I'm proud to say that we do have that honor to be one of 5 pilot cities, still working towards our ultimate goal to be the first Not in Our Town Gold Star community. Just to give you a little example of our work and what we've done with one of our rallies, we have a video I believe we can play here that'll briefly show our 2017 Not in Our Town and National Night Out Peace Rally.
In 2015, Canton Township joined the National Night Out movement to support nonviolence in and around Canton, and it became a symbol of the anti-hate movement throughout Michigan. In 2016, Canton took it one step further by combining for the first time the National Night Out and the Not in Our Town movements. As Canton continues to grow and develop, so does her population. With so many cultures in Canton, it's no wonder Canton finds herself so deeply involved with these movements.
It is important that people know that Canton is a safe and an inclusive community. It's important that they know that the diversity of our community is what makes Canton great, and that it is by working together that we can end bias and hate and make a safe and inclusive community.
Canton Township is becoming a very diverse community. So it's important for all of us to come together as one, unite, and be a group together and really learn about our neighbors and different cultures that exist here in Canton Township.
We live and work among people that maybe look different than us, or maybe we might not understand them as much as we may understand others. This event allows individuals to come together and learn in a very peaceful setting, an enjoyable and fun setting.
In its 3rd year of the programs, Canton showed no signs of slowing down.
This year, it looks like we surpassed last year in regards to participation, which is great, and every year we hope to continue to just improve on the event and make it well known around the community to bring people out to spend some time together and enjoy each other's company.
Every year it gets better. Every year we try something new. This year we've had a lot of success. We filmed a video here last year that gained national attention. It was the focus of Not in Our Town.
The purpose of this program is to drive communities to become safe and inclusive. While Canton already fits the bill, it took it as an honor as well as a privilege to take the helm and continue to lead the way. Due to the combined efforts of the township, the Hate Crime Coalition, and Canton Public Safety, the township was bestowed unexpected honor.
The pilot program with Not in Our Town is really kind of focusing on communities to drive them to achieve safe and inclusive communities, and that's really our focus. And so we were asked, one of 5 communities nationwide, to participate in a pilot program to really kind of set this up and receive mentorship through Not in Our Town. And that was based solely on the efforts of the Hate Crimes Coalition, the township, and the Public Safety Department all working together with a common goal to make our community stand out amongst others.
Much like the pilot program, Canton has become a shining example and the model for unified diversity, and members of the Canton Response to Hate Crime Coalition have traveled throughout Michigan to assist other communities with their anti-hate efforts.
Members of the Canton Response to Hate Crimes Coalition have been invited to speak at various events to share our story. Canton Public Safety won an award for the Canton Response to Hate Crimes Coalition's work. And we are always happy to talk to anyone, other libraries, other public safety departments, other leisure services and recreation departments about how we all work together and how the pieces form this larger puzzle of inclusion.
Unlike most communities, Canton did not wait for a hate crime to take place. By being proactive, Canton took it upon itself to prevent hate crimes before they could start.
We proactively formed the Hate Crimes Coalition and we proactively joined Not in Our Town before anything happened in Canton. A lot of these movements are started because there's been an incident. They're started because there is tension and friction. And so the biggest surprise for people is that we did this. But when you think about how Canton was formed and the leadership in Canton and how proactive they have been about planning, about parks and recreation, about quality of life issues, it makes perfect sense that Canton would also be at the forefront of a movement like this.
With that said, Canton will continue to push this initiative forward for years to come, continuing to be an example for other communities to follow.
We're always looking for new members, so I will be here for a little while after the show. If anybody would like to come speak with me, we're always looking for people to join the coalition. I'll end by quoting the wonderful Dr. King. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. The work of the Canton Response to Hate Crimes Coalition matters. Equality for everyone matters, and for that, the coalition will not be silent. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Lieutenant Waltz. We appreciate your work with the Canton Police Department to help keep all of us safe here in Canton. A great place for us to live and to work. Good evening, folks. My name is Darian Moore. I am the chairperson of the Dr. Martin Luther King Committee and a member of Canton's Cultural Commission. And it is my honor to be able to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening, Dr. Doris Fields. Dr. Fields is an alumni of Eastern Michigan University. Dr. Fields completed both a Bachelor of Science degree and a Master of Arts degree at EMU, and later pursued a Doctor of Philosophy degree from Wayne State University. She is currently the Director of Undergraduate Studies and a professor in the School of Communication, Media, and Theater Arts Department at EMU. Her areas of specialization are intercultural communication and interracial and interethnic communication. Dr. Fields is a recipient of the Ronald W. Collins Distinguished Faculty Award. She's a Michigan Distinguished Professor of the Year nominee, a Top 25 Women Professor in Michigan recipient, Cornerstone Award recipient from the Center for Multicultural Affairs. She's received the EMU Alumni Teaching Excellence Award, as well as a host of other honors as I'm looking here. So without any further ado, please help me welcome Dr. Doris Fields.
Good evening. Oh, that was just not good. Let's do this one more time. Good evening. Oh, that is so much better. Thank you so much. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I am so honored to be able to speak with you this evening, and I hope that I will be able to encourage you to participate in racially healing yourself and other Americans. As noted, I have been employed at Eastern Michigan University for over 20 years. I've actually been at Eastern for close to 30. as a student, a graduate student, a part-time instructor, an assistant professor, associate professor, professor, and now the director of undergraduate studies. As a professor, my academic specialization was race and communication. I have taught this particular class, interracial, interethnic communication at Eastern, for over 15 years. And the course focuses on how to systematically improve communication between individuals of different races and different cultures. So first you must understand that I am an accomplished African American woman. I am. Who unfortunately experiences racism, discrimination, and prejudice almost every single day of my life. My racial experiences have been both positive and negative, and it is my life's goal to eliminate racism, prejudice, and discrimination in the world. First, I want to do this by continuously having conversations about race. And second, by devising a 4-point plan, which I'm going to talk to you today about, to heal racial animosity in our society. I know that discussing race is uncomfortable, but I think it's time we have an uncomfortable conversation. Racism is a social construct. You are not born racist. You become racist through daily negative interactions with others in your professional and your personal lives. If we can learn racism, then we can unlearn it. It will take a lot of time and a lot of effort, but I am very optimistic. Often our negative racial perceptions and stereotypes occur because we have limited contact with people who don't look like us. And that impact further declines racial understanding. And as a society, we cannot sit back and hope that race relations improves. We must be active participants in the process. Everyone has to sit at the table. White, Black, Latino, Asian, Arabic, Native American. We have to all sit at the table to improve race relations. So I will ask you today, will you help me? Because I cannot reach my goal by myself. I can only give messages to encourage you to improve race relations. Thank you. As I stated earlier, we have to have an honest and frank conversation about race relations in the United States. We have not, unfortunately, reached Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream. He stated, "I dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin or the content of their character." And I have been able to witness many achievements in race relations, but I've also been able to witness several failures. And as a society, I believe we are only working on completing Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision. Over the past few years, our country has experienced a spike in hatefulness, racism, discrimination, prejudice against its own citizens. And this is not the first time that our nation has had to address racial injustices, which shape our society. Racial issues and racial injustices have always been a part of the American fabric, but the recent racial events have somehow caught people a little bit off guard. Many people thought that as the United States, we were post-racial because we had elected our first African-American president. It was proof that Americans had worked past our racial history. There are some that thought that these incidents only happen now and again, while others experience racism every single day of their lives. So I want you to understand that racism is alive and it is well. Unfortunately, racism may be a staple in American society, but it does not have to be a way of life. We must stand up against racism, prejudice, and discrimination. Only then will we be able to heal our nation. Racial healing is only one way to address the complexity of racism. That is why we have not been able to solve the issue, because the issue is very complex and has several different layers. And the layers create this system, and it works into every fabric that we have. I'm hoping that my 4-point plan will create racial understanding and acceptance and be the first, not the only, the first step in racial healing. Point 1 is communication. Positive communication skills can enhance interactions with people of different races and different ethnicities. Operationally, communication can break down the barriers that hinder effective communication between individuals of various races. Communication can teach us how to improve our dialogue with other people and by analyzing our communication strategies to increase racial healing. We must make an effort to learn how to communicate with people who are different from us. Through communication, we can build relationships with people, and we can also improve our country. I honestly believe that the majority of people in this world are good. And a lot of people from different backgrounds have a basic understanding of race. And there are others who are making strides and efforts to understand race. There are others that don't understand race at all. And then there are people who are racist. So we need to discuss racism and not put it under the rug so that we can see how it impacts every American's life. We need to acknowledge that negative communication from racial groups and individuals is spreading hateful messages on TV, online, on videos, and ads, and in speeches. And for some unknown reason, we are allowing a small amount of people with racist views to control our dialogue. This must stop. We must step up and encourage racial healing, if not for ourselves, for our children. Our children deserve a better America, an America where the color of your skin does not dictate your worth, your capabilities, or your status. Step 2 is respect. We need to learn how to respect different racial groups and cultural groups, because respect is the key to racial healing. We often want people to respect our views, our ideas, our suggestions, our decisions, comments, but how many times do we ever respect someone else's? How often do we treat people the way we want to be treated as a human being? How often are we kind, and how often are we loving? Think about it. Are you consistently complaining about racial issues while disrespecting people of different races? Are you respecting someone's differences and embracing those differences? Treat other people the way that you want to be treated, regardless of their race, their gender, or their sexual orientation. Make respect a habit, not a choice. The other day, I walked into my favorite coffee store, and I go there every day. I have a problem. I ordered my favorite coffee, and I handed the cashier my money. She returned my change, and she put it on the counter. And I wasn't raised that way. I was raised that if you give someone money, and they return the change, and you have your hand extended out to get your change, they should put it in your hand. So for me, that was disrespectful. So I smiled at her, and I said, "Can you please place my change in my hand?" She looked at me a little confused, and I said, "It's a respect thing." And she looked at me and she said, "I'm sorry. I place the money on the counter all the time because I like to count it in front of the customers." We looked at each other. She granted my request. And I could have gotten angry because it was disrespectful for me. But a lot of times we don't communicate effectively. And so I communicated that I had a problem with what she did, and I made a request. Her perception was completely different from mine. But once I explained my viewpoint, we came to an understanding. And it's one step at a time. Point 3, stop judging people who look different than you. People don't really understand that judging is easy. Accepting differences is very hard. So often we make judgments about people based on their skin color, their appearance, their religion, or their sexual orientation. That person can't succeed because they are black. That person can't succeed because they are Asian. That person can't succeed because they are gay. Or they don't look like they will succeed. That person can't make any sound contributions because of their race or their gender. And all of those assumptions are incorrect and impact a person's lives. The only way we can expand and grow racially is to interact with people who are different from ourselves. And before you allow yourself to judge someone, look at yourself and honor your truth so that you can become a better human being. Recently, a Canadian judge made a comment before a lecture, and she said that walking into a room full of big, dark people made me uncomfortable. This was a judge. The judge made a judgment about a group of people without even knowing anything about them. What if she made that judgment during a trial? Or sent someone to jail because of their color of their skin? Her bias can affect someone's life. The life lesson is to accept people for who they are, not for who you want them to be. And remember that difference means difference. Different doesn't mean better. My final point is that we need to understand the impact of microaggressions. And microaggressions are small, continuous, disingenuous comments to people of color on a daily basis. Imagine you're at work, working 8 hours, and you receive 20 to 40 negative comments about your race. For an average person, that would be difficult. So put yourself in that person's place, that they have to withstand that pressure and still be productive. This form of communication damages potential friendships and relationships because it creates racial tension. And please note that microaggressions, the people who say microaggressions, are usually unaware that they're saying them. And so you have to let someone know that their communication is ineffective. All of these things are fixable. That's the brilliant thing. It's just that it takes effort, an everyday effort. We need to become aware of our communication towards others. We need to treat people with respect. We need to stop making racial judgments before we learn more information. And we need to be aware of the impact of microaggression. This plan is only the beginning of the process. Improving racial relations is not a one-stop shop. It has to be done over and over and over and over again. Racial healing will take a long time, but if we start now, we will be able to heal our racial wounds. And if you fail in the process, because you will, you have to get back up and continue to try to communicate with people who look different than you. Failure is part of the process. I am so hopeful in America's promise of equality, and I'm confident that accepting racial differences will become a natural occurrence. Respecting various viewpoints will become common, and we will be able to develop skills to enhance communication with individuals from various backgrounds. We can start working on that today. I would like for you to turn towards the person sitting next to you If you know them, turn towards somebody else. And I want you to say hello and introduce yourselves to each other. That is the process of racial healing. I love you. Ooh, some people are getting up. Thank you, because this is how it begins. One step at a time, being kind and being loving towards others. I would like to end today with a Martin Luther King quote. The time is always right to do what is right. Our country's time is now, and it's time to start treating people as human beings, because our future success will depend on whether or not we have the courage to stand up to racism, discrimination, and prejudice. I have courage. Do you? Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and thank you. And tomorrow is a National Racial Healing Day in America. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fields. We appreciate that powerful message. At this time, please help me welcome Canton Township Supervisor, Mr. Pat Williams.
Thank you again, Dr. Fields, for your inspirational words. I'm going to join you. And I'm failing on a pretty regular basis, but darn it, I keep learning and I keep trying, so I'm going to keep doing it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, probably one of the most quoted individuals on earth is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I have a couple of them in my brief presentation. First up, I should say, is darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. The environment today, a lot of the statements made this evening, they ring true because there's so much acrimony in everybody's speech today. We turn on the news and it gets frustrating. So the message is, let's keep it positive. Let's keep the love in our conversations. My job tonight is to thank the Community Arts, Culture, and Heritage Group. Could we turn up the house lights briefly here? If any of the members of the Community Arts Heritage Council are here this evening, could you please stand up, be recognized for the great job you do? We couldn't do this without you guys. Yeah, I think quite a few probably in the back with the choir, so without them, they've been putting on this event since 2003. They do a fantastic job, and it is their job to encourage the development of the arts, promoting public awareness of our cultures, and serving as advocates for the arts and heritage in the greater Canton community. Their commitment to programs like this one and other successful endeavors make Canton the great place it is to be. I am proud to celebrate our diversity, and I agree that with Dr. King that an individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. And I'm stealing this from an MLK event that I attended earlier where Huel Perkins was the speaker, and what he said in brevity is, Lucy, the 3.2 million year old skeletal remains that were found in the sub-Saharan desert in Africa ties us all together. It has been said that we're all related to Lucy. It does not matter where on earth you are from today, or what color your skin is, or what your religion is. One thing is true, we're all humans. We all form together humanity today, and we all need and want to be loved and respected and cared for. That's not unique to any one of us. So let us not forget that simple fact, rather than talk about our neighbors that we may not know so well and rather making assumptions about them, let's talk to each other, which was the message from Dr. Fields, and it's like I read your thing before you did it, but it's working out nicely here. Let's talk to each other and let them know that we care for them too. Thank you all for being here tonight and for carrying on Dr. King's legacy. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the Northridge Church Choral Choir.
Take a little time out of your busy day to give encouragement to someone who's lost their way. Or would I be talking to a stone if I asked you to share a problem that's not your own? We can change things if we start giving. So why don't you reach out and touch somebody's hand? Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can.
If you see an old friend on the street and he's down, remember his shoes could fit your feet. Yeah. Try a little kindness and you see if it's something that comes oh so very naturally. Yeah. Oh, we can change things if we start giving. So why don't you reach out and touch somebody's hand? Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, so reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place, a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place, a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make it there. Make this world a better place. If you can, reach out and touch somebody's hand. This song was written to honor Dr. King some time ago. I went up to the mountain because you asked me to. Up over the clouds to where the sky's blue, I could see all around me every way. I could see all around me everywhere. Sometimes I feel like I've never been nothing but tired, and I'll be working till the day I expire. Sometimes I lay down, no more can I do, but then I go on again because you ask me to. Now some days I look down, afraid I will fall, and though the sun shines, I see nothing, nothing at all. Then I hear your sweet voice, oh, come and then go, come and then go, telling me softly you love me so. The peaceful valley just over the mountain, the peaceful valley, if you come to know. Now I may never get there ever in this lifetime, but sooner or later it's there I will go. Sooner or later it's there I will go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jordan and the Northridge Choral Ensemble for your wonderful performance. Also, thanks Supervisor Williams for being here and your support for the arts and the culture in our community. Really appreciate that. All right, folks, I have a little bit of giveaways here, so I'd like to welcome Relinda Moore from Keller Williams Real Estate out here, if you would.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Relinda Moore, and I represent the Moore Group at Keller Williams Realty in Plymouth. And we sponsor the luncheon, the reception every year, and so we're very excited to do the raffle. So at this time, I need my two assistants. All right, so they are going to pick for the first gift card, and that is a $25 gift card to Amazon. So I'll let Christina Moore pick the first. Nancy Williams. The second prize is a $25 gift card to the Cheesecake Factory. So I'll let Darian Moore II pick that one out. Miss Kenyatta Hughes, or Kenyatta Hughes. Awesome. And the third and final prize is the Holiday Market gift basket valued at $75. We have Miss Patty Smith. Patty Smith. So congratulations to all of our winners. And after the show, if you please come stage right in the lobby to redeem your gifts. Thank you. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, as we wrap up here, I have one other special offer for tonight's audience. The Village Theater is offering discounted tickets to a presentation called Love Fest, Welcome the Stranger. This dynamic performance is actually a celebration of love through music, featuring one of the most popular female songwriters in the Arabic-speaking world, Karan Alawalia. The show is on April 15th at 7 p.m., and tickets are normally $28, but if you visit the box office this evening before you're leaving, or you see a staff member for a voucher, you can receive the tickets for only $20. Actually, so instead of $28, you get them for $20. And finally, please join me in thanking not only the performers and speakers, but also I'd like to recognize Joe Kavoriak. He's the Village Arts Performing coordinator here. He's done a tremendous amount to help us prepare. And I also want to give a special thank you to Ginger Herman. She is actually the choir director for the Canton Community Choir. She's worked with them pretty extensively, arranging the schedules to rehearse, and she did a great job. So Ginger, if you are anywhere close, if you can come on out, the choir would like to present something to you, and from the commission also. Ginger's done a great job for us, and we really appreciate all you've done for us, Ginger. Thank you. And actually, all of you for being here tonight, and I want you to give yourself a big hand. Thanks for being a great audience tonight. So in closing, we would like to invite the Northridge Church Choral Ensemble, as well as Canton's Community Choir, back to the stage to end our program. Thank you all for attending this evening.
One heart, let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children crying, one love. Hear the children crying, one heart. Saying, thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Saying, let's get together and feel alright. Whoa, 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 whoa. Let them all pass out there.
dirty remarks. There is one question I'd really love to ask. Is there a place for the hopeless sinners who has hurt all mankind just to say their own beliefs? One love, what about one heart? What about the people get together and feel alright? As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. Oh yeah, let's sing praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. So when the man comes, there will be no doom. Have pity on those whose changes grows thinner. There ain't no hiding place for the Father of creation, saying, one love, one love, one heart, get together and feel alright. I'm pleading with mankind, one heart. Oh yeah, thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
Thank you, folks. Have a good evening.